Well, the spacing actually doesn't look as bad as you'd think, because it looks like he's got a 4 foot spacing on those things. And at maturity, arborvitae grow 4 to 8 feet wide. The big mistake I see, well, there's a couple mistakes I see. One is that arborvitae grow 35 to 40 feet tall, not 15 to 20 feet tall. They might only grow 15 to 20 feet tall if you only give them a 4 foot spacing. If you'd like them to live longer, be healthier, and have less problems, then you just put them on a 6 to 8 foot spacing. Or even better yet, put them on like a 5 to 6 foot spacing and stagger them. Staggering your plants and putting them in 2 rows will give you the same amount of privacy, but it will give your plants twice as much space. And they'll get a lot more soil space for those roots to expand into, and that will make them a lot healthier and allow them to grow to their full maturity, which is 35 to 40 feet tall. And if they grow 35 to 40 feet tall in our crappy Missouri soil, I'm pretty sure that they're going to grow that height just about anywhere. So the only reason they'd only grow 15 to 20 feet is if you crammed them in, or if they were just stressed and struggling. The other big issue, like the thing that really bothers me about this, is the monoculture. Like, you should never plant a row of 100 of the same plant. What a bad investment. I don't care if you got the small ones and they were cheaper. One problem that affects that species of plant, and it could wipe out every single thing that you've done. And what a waste of energy and effort that would be. It wouldn't have taken much to throw in some sheared Canardi junipers, to throw in a couple of like Taylor junipers, depending on where you're at, maybe an Italian cypress. We can't grow those here, but there's a lot of tall, skinny evergreens that you can use to make a hedgerow. You could have even looked at like columnar spruces, columnar blue atlas cedars. There's a lot of stuff out there you could have used instead of using 100 arborvitae. Now, getting it all in small sizes may not be easy, or buying 100 of any plant is probably not cheap. But if you're going to do it, don't throw your money away and invest in one plant. It's called planting a monoculture, and it's highly frowned upon. So, the spacing is a little tight. The monoculture is definitely the issue, and then let's touch on the watering. So when you water anything, the goal is to wean it off the water as much as possible. The more frequent the watering, the more shallow roots you're going to have. So you want to make the plants work for that water a little bit, and that's why you want to reduce watering frequency. That'll allow that plant root to chase the water deeper into the soils. When your roots are deep in the soil, you can reach that water that from a longer time period ago, and allows the plants to just handle drought and dry periods quite a bit better. The temperatures are also better regulated in the deeper soils, so your plant's gonna have a less likelihood of burning up when it gets really hot. Arborvitae is a species that basically is always gonna have to have water, at least in our area. It gets too hot and too dry, so we have to water them during the hot summers. If you don't have an irrigation system or something rigged up for them, you probably don't use them. But if you are going to water them, you don't water them 6 times a day. Maybe that would work in like a sandy soil, but I don't think arborvitae grow very well in sandy soils. Either way, let's do the math on that. So in general, almost every plant, at least in our area, can uptake about 1 inch of water every week. I double checked. I just Googled it, but emerald green arborvitae is the same. At maturity, it's only going to take up 1 inch a week. So let's assume your drip line is a 0.2 gallon per hour drip line. Now, technically, you should have it on square spacing, so there should be 2 rows, one on the front, one on the back. It looked like it was just 1 row running down, so it might be done wrong, but maybe there was 3 and I missed it. I don't know. But either way, say you've got your 12-inch spacing, so you're covering every square foot with 0.2 gallon per hour drip emitters, which is as low as you can get on a pre-emitted drip system like that one is. That 0.2 gallons per hour, after about 5 hours, it's put out 1 gallon of water. So in order to get your 1 inch of water every week, so what it's like 0.62 gallons per square foot is an inch of water. So at 0.2 gallons per hour, every 3 hours you're getting an inch of water. So if you're watering that sucker for 10 minutes and you're doing it 6 times a day, that's an hour a day times 7. I mean, that's 7 hours. So if it was square spacing, you would be watering a little over double what's needed every week. That's only a 0.2 gallon per hour drip. So if you're using like a 0.9 gallon per hour drip, you know, things can get pretty hairy. You're almost 4 times that. So you're probably overwatering, which I guess works out for now while it's hot in the summer. It could cause root rot problems, but mostly just wasted water. And then the other issue is that you're not on square spacing, which might actually make up for the wacky watering times, because you're going to have about a quarter of the amount of water, and it's going to be very unevenly distributed. So my concern would be expecting dead spots on one side of the plant, the side that's not getting the irrigation. But also you might actually be underwatering them at that amount of time, because you're only getting a quarter of the amount of water that you should be getting over that square foot of surface area. I really don't know, and I wouldn't know unless I knew, you know, the specs on your irrigation. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of things in there that aren't really done, you know, to a professional standard. But I mean, you know, it looks nice, and a lot of people get lucky with landscaping, and maybe he will, and he can get his 7 to 10 years out of those things, and he'd get them to be 10 or 12 feet before they start killing each other off. I will say he probably saved about $5,000 doing it himself, but in the long run, he'll probably end up with a lot of dead arborvitae, just because there's a few things that don't seem honed in.